Take it to Baltimore for the jump off. Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff led the NFL's two best offenses last season, and both squads were coming off 40-point outings in week 2. First quarter was scoreless until Jahmyr Gibbs took the handoff up the middle. Lions up 7-0. Ensuing drive for Baltimore. Derrick Henry, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Finds room, nobody wanted to tackle him, and that ties the game at 7-all. Let's go to the second quarter. Lions, their own 30. They got a 3rd and 8. Goff looks over the middle, finds Sam Laporta. 14-yard connection, keeps the drive alive. 7 minutes later, it's 2nd and goal. The Lions run a 98-yard touchdown drive, capped off by David Montgomery. 10 minutes, 48 seconds. Longest in the NFL this season. They're up 14-7. Second quarter, Ravens had a 2nd and goal situation, but that Lions defense got stingier than a toddler with a plate of chicken nuggets. Jack Cunningham couldn't get in. Henry couldn't get in. And then Lamar, what? Nope. Sack, ball out, fumble. They turn it over. Dan Campbell is pumped for his squad. But less than 30 seconds ago, Ravens get it back. Another goal situation. Rashad Bateman from Lamar. So all in all, it's good, right? 14-14 at the break. Now, one thing did happen in this game for Baltimore. The real Mark Andrews stood up Monday. 6 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. That one gave the Ravens a 21-14 lead. But here come the Lions. Goff to Montgomery, back to Goff to Amon St. Brown, first down. Big night for the offense in Detroit. Very next play, Goff goes back to his man. St. Brown, touchdown. That ties it at 21-all. Next possession for Detroit, they're at their own 15, and David Montgomery had the competition out here paying the price. Look at this gain, and if it wasn't for the hustle of Marlon Humphrey, he might have taken it to the house. 72-yard run, got it inside the 15. Same drive. Now it's 4th and 1 at the 4. You know the Lions are going to go for it, right? Because that's what they do. We flip the field to start the 4th quarter and just walks it into the end zone. Does Gibbs. He had 67 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Now the Lions are up 28-21. 8.5 minutes in the 4th. Derrick Henry, not another fumble. He fumbled in the 4th quarter, and that lost to the Bills. And it was Aiden Hutchinson with the punch out there, and the Lions take over, and Henry is beside himself as he falls on the bench on the Ravens sideline. Now, they get it back to the Ravens, and then Hutchinson with another big play, the sack of Lamar Jackson. He was sacked 7 times, which ties a career high. 2 minutes to go in the game. Goff fakes the handoff. They're going for it again on 4th down, and how about that throw and catch of St. Brown? He had 7 catches, 77 yards. Lions 3 for 3 on 4th down in this game, and then the very next play, Montgomery. He had 151 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. In fact, the Ravens gave up 4 rushing touchdowns in this game, and the Lions go on the road and take down the Ravens 38-30. They're now 2-1 after 3 games.
What was the key to being able to bottle them up, to keep them from doing what Lamar usually does?
That's when you marry good pass rush with good coverage, and that's what we did. When our DBs covered, we rallied and got the sack. All of us, Quan, bunch of linebackers. It was a really good performance. I'm really happy with how we played in the second half.
We had like 6 minutes and a half left in the game, when that situation happened. And our defense did a great job, stopping those guys. And we just got to find a way to drive the ball down the field and score, right away, because we were still in the game. It wasn't like it was a blowout or nothing like that.
Very frustrating. Lost for words, man. Just keep working in practice. Try to put emphasis on it in practice and try to work on as hard as I can. Just crazy right now. 3 games straight that happened in my career. Straight fumbles in critical moments. Ain't a good feeling. I apologize to Flock Nation, and just gonna keep working and get this fixed.
All right, so Ryan Clark joins us from Baltimore. Plenty of points scored, not that surprising, but it was the Lions defense, though, RC, that came up with some clutch plays throughout this game. What stood out to you about that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think the first thing is you think about Aiden Hutchinson's play to knock the football out of Derrick Henry's hand. Derrick Henry, his third fumble in just as many games, and his second fumble that really sealed the deal. But it was also their ability to corral Lamar Jackson. This is a team that gets in the backfield, has 7 sacks. It forced multiple fumbles, but they found ways to give their team the football back, but also take away possessions from the Baltimore Ravens. There was the physicality that they played with up front, but also in the second half, I thought the coverage in the secondary was as good as we'd seen it from this team all season.
We once again are having conversations about the Ravens and their slow starts because they are now 1-2. So what concerns do you have about the way that they've started this year?
Well, I think the first thing is I don't see a sense of urgency in the way that the Baltimore Ravens are playing. Obviously, they were out without Nnamdi Madubuike tonight, but the way that they were physically dominated in the middle of the defensive line, the big runs by David Montgomery, the fourth down conversions of the Detroit Lions, it seemed like one team was ready and prepared to execute throughout the night in the most important moments, and the other team wasn't. Listen, we know that the Baltimore Ravens are normally extremely well coached, and that being coached that way allows them to execute. We haven't seen that throughout the first 3 weeks. Think about this. This team has played 2 good football teams, and both of those teams have absolutely dominated the Ravens defense and found ways to win. If you were telling me that the only team that they had beaten this season would be the Cleveland Browns, I would say to myself, I don't know enough about the Baltimore Ravens right now to put them amongst the elite in the AFC.
It'll be interesting to see what happens next week because it'll be a couple of 1-2 teams. Baltimore heads to Kansas City. RC, don't go anywhere.
The injury news out of Dallas keeps getting worse. Pro Bowl wideout CeeDee Lamb could miss 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain suffered in Sunday's loss in Chicago. The Cowboys are now down 3 starters on offense for multiple weeks, and it's yet to be determined if Lamb ends up on injured reserve.
You know, CeeDee is a guy that heals quickly, and he will do everything in his power to get back, but it does look like he'll miss a little bit of time. Look, I mean, injuries are unfortunately a big part of this business, and it's hard to replace a guy like CeeDee, but you know, guys got to step up and do that, and again, it gives us a week to do it. You know, this is really the second week in a row we've had to adjust kind of on the fly on game day, and had to do that again yesterday with CeeDee, but still got plenty of ammunition to go do what we got to do.
The news is even worse out in the Bay Area. San Francisco found out Monday that Nick Bosa is done for the season. An MRI revealing a torn ACL in the right knee. Bosa, who currently leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss, partially tore his right ACL in high school. Sources say the Niners will get about $7 million in cap relief next season thanks to insurance on a season-ending injury.
Then there's this guy who maybe just should be done. Russell Wilson has not been great unless it was against the Cowboys defense, but that is an entirely different issue. The Giants are 0-3, and when pushed on the idea of making a quarterback change, Brian Daboll's stance has been, we're not talking about that. And it's okay.
You know, in order to improve the passing game, and I'd say that was the number one thing we needed to improve from yesterday as a collective. Everybody's got to be doing exactly the right stuff. So it's not all on one guy. There's multiple reasons why, you know, certain plays didn't come out the way we wanted them to come out, and we'll continue to do that.
So quarterback change is on the table.
I'd say we're evaluating everything.
I don't know if y'all picked up on that, but the wording is reminiscent of when the Giants said that they were going to move on from Daniel Jones. So like file that whole thing under things that make you go, Bottom line, what should the Giants do?
Well, to me, the Giants should stick to whatever plan they had that worked for Jackson Dart and worked for this organization. You don't go to panic mode. You don't get in a situation, if you're Brian Daboll, where you're trying to save your job by playing the young player. If there is no way that this team could win with Russell Wilson, if you don't feel like he could get better and Jackson Dart is ready, then you put the young rookie into the game and you allow him to grow through experience. But if Jackson Dart isn't ready, you don't put him in there and ruin him. You don't put him behind a line that can't protect him. You don't put him out there with a scheme that doesn't fit him. And so if you're Brian Daboll, you have to evaluate all of these things because you don't ruin a young rookie quarterback just because you didn't do the things to have a team built around him that was ready for him to play.
All right, so let's keep it.